view Trump as being essentially the same as every other politician. The major difference being that what they cloak in euphemisms, he just blurts out like a tactless dolt. But maybe it's time America took a look into the dark mirror that is Trump. Maybe it's time we let America's raging id take the wheel for a while and just see what happens. At the very least, it'll be a shakeup, and I'm honestly just sort of curious what Trump will do if we actually give him the highest office in all the land. I've made no secret about my feelings towards this election cycle that just concluded a couple days ago. I felt like Clinton and Trump were both terrible candidates, but now the election's over and America has chosen its president, so I say we at least give Trump a fucking chance. Let's see what he does with power before we freak out. Whoops! Oopsie. Sorry, I was wrong. I mean, I gave him his chance, and as it turns out, he fucking sucks. And if you're a Trump supporter, I'm sorry, but my days of riding the fence on Trump to preserve your feelings are over. It's not like I have to worry about losing your subscription anymore, since I now lose subs almost every day, regardless of how well my videos do. And even when my videos do well, I don't make shit for money on YouTube at this point. I'll be honest with you, without the support of my patrons, I'd be pretty damn close to shutting this channel down. Anyway, you don't give a shit about my problems. You've got your own problems to deal with, so let me talk about something that's everyone's problem, even if you don't live in the US, because it's time to call a spade, and it's time to call our inept orange buffoon an inept orange buffoon. When I said last year that this cretinous Trump faggot was going to be like America looking into its own dark reflection, I was wrong. It's really more like America looking into its toilet bowl after a giant diuretic shit following a circus peanut and whiskey binge. Okay? The two words that seem to keep coming up in my head when I try to describe Trump are stunning ineptitude. When Trump dies, those words should be emblazoned on his fucking tombstone. I am shocked. Okay? I'm hard to shock, but I'm shocked. Well and truly fucking shocked at the stunning ineptitude of our president. It started with the firing of James Comey. Now, how did I feel about that? I'll be honest with you, I didn't give a shit. Honestly, I give more consideration to what I should do with a gelatinous growth of a booger after I mine it from my fucking nose. I personally don't like James Comey. I don't like the FBI. If this country were ever batshit crazy enough to elect me president, I'd abolish the FBI. I think they're basically the American Gestapo, and they're out of fucking control. So when I heard Trump fired Comey, I didn't really have much of a reaction, especially since the administration came out and said Trump fired Comey because he was advised to do so by United States Attorney General Jeff Sessions and Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, or Steen, whatever. Because if you got the top law enforcement guys in the country coming to you and saying, this FBI director's gotta go, you gotta give credence to that, right? So when Democrats started making the attack of, well, we think Trump fired Comey to stop him from investigating Russia, my thought was, okay, that's just a conspiracy theory. You've shown me no substantive, actual evidence. You might as well be telling me that Trump's turning the frickin' frogs gay, you know? That's the level of credibility I gave it. Because I've never been too much into this whole Trump's in bed with Russia line of attack. Because first of all, Russia, even though we have our problems with them, is not an enemy state. And I don't think we should turn them into one. They got a giant nuclear arsenal. Not a good idea. Second of all, the idea that Russia leaked the hacked DNC and Clinton emails is unsubstantiated. I haven't seen the evidence for it. Third of all, who would actually want to be in bed with Donald Trump? No one. Now, Democrats like to say Russia hacked the election. Well, no. Russia if it was Russia, influenced the election by revealing 100% truths about Clinton and the DNC. And you know what? I find it really hard to get upset about someone telling me the truth. It's like getting mad at your doctor for telling you that you have cancer. Be mad at the cancer, not the doctor. He didn't put it there. You know, Putin didn't make Hillary Clinton say a bunch of sketchy shit. She said a bunch of sketchy shit because she's fucking sketchy. So because I've never bought into the Trump-Russia stuff, I didn't give much credence to the idea that Trump fired Comey because of the Russia investigation. Then something really remarkable happened, and I'll set the scene for you. So there I was, dumb and blind, with the Trump wool over my eyes, when all of a sudden it was pulled away by Donald Trump's worst political adversary, Donald Trump. So first, let's take a look at what Trump's surrogates were saying to the media when Trump initially fired Comey.
The new Deputy Attorney General sat down and made the recommendation that for the FBI to be able to do its job, that it would need new leadership. He brought that recommendation to the President. The Attorney General concurred with that recommendation.
He did have a conversation with the Deputy Attorney General on Monday where they had come to him to express their concerns. The President asked that they put those concerns and their recommendation in writing, which is the letter that you guys have received.
He has lost confidence in the FBI director, and he took the recommendation of Rod Rosenstein, the Deputy Attorney General.
So the line there is that Trump fired Comey only because of the recommendations of the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General. And like a fucking sucker, I bought that. Until
Monday you met with the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein.
Right.
Did you ask for a recommendation?
What I did is I was going to fire Comey. My decision. It was not.
You had made the decision before they came in the room.
I was going to fire Comey. There's no good time to do it, by the way.
Because in your letter you said I accepted their recommendation.
Yeah, well,
so you had already made the decision.
I was going to fire regardless of recommendation.
So there was really room.
He made a recommendation. He's highly respected, very good guy, very smart guy. The Democrats like him. The Republicans like him. He made a recommendation, but regardless of recommendation, I was going to fire Comey.
Oh, shit! So Trump immediately throws all his surrogates right under the bus, destroys what little credibility they had by coming out and telling an entirely different story than the one he sent them out to give. The recommendations from the Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General were not why Trump fired Comey. So, why did he fire Comey? Well, he let us know that too.
And in fact, when I decided to just do it, I said to myself, I said, you know, this Russia thing with Trump and Russia is a made-up story. It's an excuse by the Democrats for having lost an election.
It was at this point that I had to admit to myself that maybe there's something to all this Trump-Russia stuff. I mean, when you hear it right from the fucking horse's mouth, kind of hard to fucking deny. I wasn't convinced by the lying, unfair, fake news, lamestream media or the Democrat partisans. I was convinced by Trump's own doltish fucking statements. He said in no uncertain terms, I fired Comey because he was investigating Russia. My ties to Russia. My administration's ties to Russia. It's like that song. I shot the sheriff, but I did not shoot the deputy. Well, you still shot the sheriff, you fucking moron. You just confessed to shooting the sheriff. What's wrong with you? And while I was still digesting these events, yet another Trump scandal surfaced. The Washington Post reported that Trump divulged classified information in a White House meeting with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak. Everyone in Russia is named fucking Sergei. And once again, I was so proud of myself. I was patting my fucking back. Oh, TJ, you're so smart. Because all the conservatives are out there dismissing it instantly as fake news. It's fake news. And all the liberals were just taking it like it's gospel truth. Like the Washington Post said it, and they never lie. I scoffed at both sides. Ha! I'm above the fray. I alone, the great TJ, will wait for more evidence. I won't be suckered into taking a side based on emotion, based on allegiance to a political ideal. I will be the objective third party. Then General H.R. McMaster, who was also in the meeting where Trump is alleged to have done this, came forward in a press conference and said,
"There's nothing that the president takes more seriously than the security of the American people. The story that came out tonight, as reported, is false."
And I thought, okay, so the Trump administration is outright denying that this was said. Now, I don't trust the Washington Post. Don't trust them. Sorry. I don't trust the Trump administration. So at that point, it's kind of a wash. I don't know who to believe, so I don't care. You know? Did Trump reveal classified information to Russians or did he not? I don't know. I'm still waiting for the evidence, guys. Ha ha. But then, the very next morning, I woke up to these Trump tweets. As president, I wanted to share with Russia at an openly scheduled White House meeting, which I have absolute right to do, facts pertaining to terrorism and airline flight safety, humanitarian reasons, plus I want Russia to greatly step up their fight against ISIS and terrorism. Holy shit, he did it again! He fucking did it again! Are you fucking kidding me? He did it again. He fucking did it. A scandal came up that his entire administration came out and gave one story, and then Trump comes out and gives an entirely different story. Everyone in his administration, it's not true, calm down, it's not true, calm down, it's not true, calm down. And then Trump, the very next morning, you bet your sweet fucking ass it's true. I did it and I have every right to do it. We gotta take on ISIS, y'all. We gotta take on motherfucking ISIS. Yeah? Well, if you were actually a competent president and not an embarrassing monosyllabic orangutan, you'd know that a big part of getting ISIS is not fucking compromising intelligence sources, right?
No shit, Sherlock.
This information that you divulged to Russia was classified for a fucking reason. It was classified to protect the source of the information, which it turns out was an Israeli source close enough to ISIS to be reporting back on their activities. And is that source still in place? I don't know, but probably not. That source is either preparing for his big debut in the next installment of Lose 20 Pounds for Allah, or he's been pulled out entirely. Thanks, Donald. You just compromised a source of intel on ISIS, you greasy, unbelievably incompetent sack of belligerent shit. I've heard debate, okay, about whether or not Donald Trump had the right to divulge this information, because the president does have the ability to declassify information, but it's supposed to be a process, not just at his whim. But there does seem to be some debate around this issue of whether he has the right to do it. And to me, that's missing the point. You're missing the point entirely. The point is that he was incredibly unwise to do it. The point is that he didn't think for one fucking second.
Think for one fucking second
Before he spoke. And he fucked up big time. Okay? Fucked up big time. Accept it. Then came the Comey memo. See, on February 13th, Trump's national security advisor Michael Flynn was forced to resign because he had talks back in December with Russian ambassador Sergei Kislyak. And if that name sounds familiar, it's because It's one of the same guys Trump divulged classified information to recently, though it's hard to tell since, once again, half the Russian population seems to be named fucking Sergei. In his talks with the Russian ambassador, Flynn discussed U.S. sanctions against Russia and the possibility of lifting them once Trump took office. Flynn then lied about discussing sanctions with Russia for several months until he was caught red-handed by the Washington Post and forced to resign in fucking disgrace. So apparently the next day after Flynn resigned, that'd be February 14th, they'd remember this is Valentine's Day. President Donald Trump and then FBI Director James Comey sat down and had themselves a little meeting. And in that meeting, Donald Trump pressured Comey to drop his investigation of former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. We know this now because Comey's memo from that meeting has surfaced. Now, Trump supporters are, of course, attacking the legitimacy of the memo, of Comey's memo that leaked from that meeting, and many are now circulating a snippet from a May 3rd testimony by Comey under oath that supposedly proves that the memo is a lie. Check it out. If Trump told Comey to stop investigating, as Comey memo alleges, then why did Comey state this on May 3rd under oath? And he then furnishes us with a quote from Comey's testimony. Not in my experience, because it would be a big deal to tell the FBI to stop doing something that, without an appropriate purpose, I mean, where oftentimes they give us opinions that we don't see a case there, and so you ought to stop investing resources in it. But I'm talking about a situation where we were told to stop something for a political reason. That would be a very big deal. It's not happened in my experience. First of all, what are we supposed to even glean from that jumbled up pile of fucking word manure? I thought Trump was an inarticulate dumbass, but Comey might actually have him beat if that answer is any fucking indication. Anyway, the quote, for whatever it's worth, which, spoiler alert, is nothing, has been taken out of context. Surprise, surprise. Here's the full fucking context where that quote comes from. Hirono. So, if the Attorney General or senior officials at the Department of Justice opposes a specific investigation, can they halt that FBI investigation? Comey, in theory, yes. Hirono, has it happened? Comey. And then Comey goes on to give that gibberish answer that I just laid out for you guys a moment ago. So this is a question about whether the Attorney General or senior officials at the Justice Department have the ability to halt an FBI investigation. The question was not about Trump or if Trump tried to impede the FBI's investigation into Russia. I mean, Comey was the head of that investigation at the time, so even if he had been asked about Trump obstructing it, he's not going to answer those sorts of questions about an ongoing investigation. And you know when conservatives start trotting out bullshit like this, they're getting scared. And they should be. Because if the Comey memo is genuine and Trump's own statements about his reasons for firing Comey are accurate, and why wouldn't they be, then that means Trump used his power as president to interfere in an ongoing investigation into his own administration's ties to Russia. Now, if I were writing a fucking textbook and I had to offer up a hypothetical example of obstruction of justice, I would be hard-pressed to think of a clearer example than the President of the United States coming to the director of the FBI and telling him to back off of a fucking investigation and firing him when he failed to comply. Hell, even if the Comey memo turns out to be fake, even if it's total bullshit, Trump's statements to Lester Holt about his reasons for firing Comey should be enough in and of themselves to demonstrate obstruction of fucking justice.
Regardless of recommendation, I was going to fire Comey, knowing there was no good time to do it. And in fact, when I decided to just do it, I said to myself, I said, you know, this Russia thing with Trump and Russia is a made-up story. It's an excuse by the Democrats for having lost an election.
Who does that, by the way? Who is so unbelievably thick that they admit to a crime to the national news media? What criminal doesn't have the base instinct to lie to preserve themselves? The stupidest, most drug-addled petty thief knows to say, "No, sir, officer, I didn't steal no candy bar. I've been set up by the system. The Illuminati done did it, officer. It weren't me." Not Trump, though. He even had a cover story in place. Think about that. He had a cover story in place that his administration was already spreading that was fooling people like me. Literally all this turgid orange simpleton had to do was nod his head and say, "Yep, what they said." And he couldn't fucking do it. He couldn't stick to the line of bullshit that his own people had already sold us. Trump, it seems, even fails at failing. So, obstruction of justice. Obstruction of justice. Oh yeah, obstruction of justice. You know what's the nice thing about obstruction of justice? You know what's really wonderful about obstruction of justice? It's an impeachable offense. Why was Nixon impeached? Obstruction of justice. Why was Clinton impeached? Obstruction of justice. Why should Trump be impeached? Obstruction of motherfucking justice. I'd love to just end this video here, but I have to address one more thing before I go. Because I've heard this way too many times. Whenever Trump and impeachment comes up, these Trump-tards start to give you this spiel about Pence. You think Trump is bad? Wait till you fucking see Pence! Huh? You know, Trump, you guys should be fucking counting your blessings with Trump, because without Trump, Pence would be president, and he's way worse. He's a bazillion times worse than Trump ever was. I actually had someone come to me and tell me that, you know, when you guys get rid of Trump and you got Pence, Pence is going to take you and all your little LGBTQXYZ plus fucking faggot friends, and he's going to put you all into concentration camps. It's going to be a new fucking Holocaust once Pence is up in there. Which, first of all, no. And also my response to that, if that was true, is, wow, this Pence guy sounds like a real terrible guy. What sort of idiot made him vice president? Huh? Yeah. Think before you speak.
Think for 1 fucking second.
Well, thanks for watching. And for all you Trump supporters, thanks for your autistic comments down below. I'm sure I'll get a great kick out of them. And if you're unsubscribing, bye. And if you're sticking around, please consider supporting me on Patreon. I am TJ Kirk. Peace the fuck out. And have a good day.